What do you think about when you're staring into a campfire? My mind goes to imagining what it must have been like in Bible times when campfires were a place to cook your food and a source of heat and a place to gather around at night where you could tell stories after a long, busy day. Can you imagine getting to sit across from Jesus? What questions would you have? What would you ask him? Well, there were 12 people who got to do just that. They were called the 12 disciples. Sometimes we also call them the apostles. The Greek word for disciple refers to a learner, and it's used throughout the New Testament to refer to people who believed in Jesus. Jesus had many disciples, men and women, and when we talk about the disciples, we're talking about 12 men who were disciples or learners who were given a special job after Jesus' death. These men were Jews, commoners, fishermen, farmers, and simple men of faith who gave up everything to be followers of Jesus. Jesus purposely passed over the elite, the aristocratic, and the influential men of society and chose mostly the men from everyday working part of society. Jesus trained these men to be leaders. Jesus' plan was to eventually have the disciples take over and carry on the work that he'd started. Jesus wasn't just a savior, but he was also a friend, a teacher, and a mentor. He worked with his disciples for about 3 years, and during this time, they saw Jesus face almost every situation imaginable. They saw him consistently anchor himself in God's presence through prayer. They watched as he avoided the spotlight and the praises of the crowds. He taught them that ministry in God is the focal point, and he refused to give in to the temptation of self-ambition and self-promotion. Jesus led by example, showing what loving God and loving your neighbor looked like. The disciples were able to ask Jesus questions, and I think it's pretty cool that even to this day, we can still ask God our questions. God isn't afraid of our questions or our doubts. He's patient enough to walk with us as we figure out the answers to those questions too. He's big enough and he's loving enough to be with us as we question. We can cry out to him and he will answer us. I have a question for you. Can you name all the 12 disciples? Well, I have a song that might help you out.
There were 12 disciples Jesus called to help him: Simon, Peter, Andrew, James his brother John, Philip, Thomas, Matthew, James the son of Alpheus, Thaddeus, Simon, Judas, and Bartholomew.